Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, I just want to go over that 10% drop that we've had on the charts. This is something that I was looking forward to. As you know, that I've been leaning towards the bullish side of a possible bounce, not guaranteed, but a possible bounce. And part of what was making the data a little bit cloudy was the possibility of this 10% drop, even though we also have the possibility of a 10%, or pardon me, a 20% pop to the upside. So let's just go over what I was saying yesterday and see if any of this made sense. But I'm still very much aware that we could have kind of a fake out drop first. So if you notice me thinking a lot, one thing that I'm just considering is that the setup would really allow for a kind of like a 10% drop and then potentially a 20% pump, right? Something like this. So what would be 10% down? Something like 27,000. So potentially we could see, that kind of drop, kind of like a check mark move being put in. And as long as we really didn't break too much below that, I could still see the potential upside. The only problem is that we're going to start breaking some of these numbers and turning around our indicators if we get below 28,000. So well, some of these are saying 26,000. So that's good. But this So as you can see, yesterday I was pointing out that there is the possibility for this drop. And what did we see? From the top of our range, we got about 9% drop approximately, right? And we didn't violate that low, right? That 27,900 that I was pointing out, that 28,000. We didn't violate it, and so we were still on safe grounds. And I was mentioning probably we were going to have a move like this coming up in order to liquidate the longs, and then potentially we have the ability to have a 20% pump to the upside. Now, that would stand in contrast to obviously the bear flag that we've been printing. And so, because I'm not sure about the enthusiasm in the market right now, the appetite for taking on risk, and because of the macroeconomics of basically everything, not just crypto, I'm not really sure that that kind of pump is going to happen. And we can just kind of scroll back and take a look at these other eras where, in 2018, we made a noble attempt here to do something very similar where we had been riding, down in a kind of a bear market. We fell off of a cliff. Everyone thought, okay, maybe that's the bottom, right? Like maybe that's the bottom. They bounced up and then they just went sideways, for a couple weeks or whatever. And there was a drop down and then a pump up. Let's see, what was the percentage here? It was just a modest, like a 5%. Like they couldn't even gather any enthusiasm to the upside. And pardon me, this was just a series of days, but it was a shelf that they kind of sat on. And then there was just another fall down, right? So we're looking a little bit stronger than everyone was in 2018. And is there a real possibility that we could hold on to our current level and that we could get that pump? Yeah, I think we've made a pretty stable base. I think we just tested the downside and people didn't like freak out or panic or anything. The bottom of the market didn't drop. We didn't break that 28,000, and so we didn't see the downside. So I'm still going to leave the possibility that we could have that 20% pop to the upside now that we've fulfilled that that 10% drop. and 20%, would put us somewhere along the lines of again like a 32 to 35,000 bucks approximately. And if you wanted to be conservative, maybe that 32,000, and then kind of a stretch goal for to close the CME gap around 35,000 would be a possibility. I wouldn't guarantee any of that. Again, like we are printing pretty much a massive bear flag, and we did that here too, right? Where this was basically a bear flag, and then we dropped from there. Like we could do it again, right? There's no guarantee that the bottom's in, guys. So if we do play these, um, the indicators, which would suggest that a pump is possible, you have to remember that it does stand in slight contrast to the to the patterns that are being printed on the chart. And although this is kind of a mixed pattern, because technically you also have this flagpole, which could actually bring us up to this 33,000, 32, 33,000. The overwhelming trend on this chart is to the downside. And so I wouldn't necessarily go against the trend unless you had some type of bullish reversal pattern being put in, and we don't have a bullish reversal pattern. But just to kind of give an analogy to what I'm seeing in the indicators, again, it's just something like this, where you have this area of consolidation, and then you have kind of like a 20% pop, right? Area of consolidation, and then kind of a 20% pop, right? You can even see here an area of consolidation, and then you have this kind of like pop up, right? So this is quite a common pattern, even in downtrends. And you can see this pattern was even put in at the top, at the very top of the market up here, and it's how we got to that $69,000 price point, because we really were just consolidating, and then we had a pop, and then we had the downtrend, 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 right? This one right here had kind of a little one. This one right here had kind of a little one. And so if we had that formation and then we just had a pop, then potentially we could continue to the downside. And that's just how they shake out the market, right? That's how they test these different levels, and how the prices get negotiated, right? Because you just have to find the strength at these different levels, and whoever gets shook out, they lose, right? So guys, not much else to say. Just wanted to go over that and show you that we are on the right track. We did have that fake out to the downside that I was talking about. I hope you guys weren't wrecked on it. I hope you guys were expecting it. I was expecting it. And then if we do have some type of bullish pump here to the top of the channel, that would be expected. Perhaps we could test the bottom first and then go to the top and then break out. Or just look to see if are there signs of weakness, or are we breaking this trend line up here? If we're breaking this trend line up here, then that's a good sign, because they flushed out the longs with this wick, right? The fake out to the downside, they flushed out the longs. And now everyone's going to be a little bit more nervous who was going long previously. And so that would be a good setup for these market makers, etc., to bring the market upwards, right? So be on the lookout for that. We're not sure when that could possibly occur, or if it's going to occur. But if we do just start rolling over, we can't even get to the top of our channel. If if it just looks really weak, then just be a little bit extra cautious, okay? Really look for some bullishness. If you wanted to wait until we, broke, 30,000, 800 or something like that before you really started to, think about these upper numbers, or even 31,500. I mean, to be honest, I just wouldn't be taking a lot of risk in this area. It's a very complex setup right now. And although this range has been easy trading, um, you're literally looking off the side of a cliff, right? So very easy to get wrecked Just mind your trades. You probably don't want to be sitting in something overnight if you don't know what you're doing. And just pay attention, guys. Okay, looks like we're on the right track. I'll update whenever we get out of this boring price movement. But so far, we're just going, up and down, and basically the same range. You can just see. I could just straighten this out, and you can see it's pretty much just a parallel range. Even had a little fake out here, a little fake out here, and whether or not we touch the bottom or we touch the top first. This where we are right now isn't necessarily a place to put in a play because you don't know if we're going up or we're going down. But if we get a nice solid touch to the bottom of the range or to the top of the range, then you might want to consider your move because you could understand if we got to the top of the range, most likely we're headed down. If we get to the bottom of the range, most likely we're headed up. And if we break on top of the range and sit there, not like this where we like fell back down, but if we get on top of the range and we kind of sit there or have some type of a bullish price movement from there, then maybe we're going to do something more exciting, right? And same thing here. We broke down, but then we immediately popped back up. If we break down and then retest the bottom, that could be a very dangerous signal that we're going to fall deeper. That was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.